month-old border collie. I should get one. I really, really want one.
And hey, everybody over here on Modern Dog Training.
Oh, Modern Dog Training.
Yes.
Hey, Modern Dog Training, how are you?
So we're doing like a little simulcast like we did yesterday, but this time we're going live on Facebook right here as well. So those that are on Modern Dog Training, feel free to go ahead and pop over to Instagram stories.
Well, just Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess you do have to go to stories.
Yeah, you have to kind of go to the story section. So go to Zak George's Instagram. I'll put a link in the description. You guys can start asking questions down below. We're gathering all our questions over there, but I might pop in over there, let Bree have the hot seat here.
Oh, hey, whatever.
And see if there's anything important. So if you guys don't have an Instagram and can't
He came to us about 7 weeks from a breeder in Michigan. We're in California. And we have an existing 3-year-old Shiba Inu. The minute we brought the pup into the house, the Shiba looked like went into a little bit of a depression. Just completely off. Anyway, fast forward now, we are he's 13 weeks. I'm seeing a lot of aggression, a lot of Dracula teeth from the existing Shibu coming out, the Shiba coming out, and the Husky. Just a lot of mean, serious growls, and it's making me really nervous. I need some help here.
Well, this is actually really interesting that this comes up.
Good question, yeah.
Because of what's happened here with my dogs even. So it's not uncommon. So you're not doing anything wrong. Let's just start you off there in a sense that you are trying your best. We hear that. And I shouldn't say you're not doing anything wrong, but again, in a sense that Jade, our little border collie puppy here, she's 7.5 months old. And she, at this age, has started to try to claim things that are hers, right? She's starting to go around, starting to growl. So one of the things that Zach and I have definitely been really good about with Daisy, my other dog that's here, that Jade's protecting stuff from, is actually deferring to the oldest, or the dog that's been there previously. So you don't want that older dog to resent the new dog.
Yeah. So my take on this really would be, cause it is concerning. In 13 weeks, man, 13-week-old dogs can be obnoxious, you know, to older dogs. Is yours of the obnoxious variety towards trying to play and just constantly annoying the older dog, or is she more subdued? Or
yeah, you could
the new one is typically how it goes, and they're just being a bit obnoxious, but I don't know if that's the case with your puppy. Yeah, and so a lot. So a lot of, it's a fine line, isn't it? Because a lot of that communication can be very healthy from an older dog, saying, "Hey, I got to teach you some manners. Back off, chill. You're playing too rough." But sometimes they can go too far. So there's a lot of benefit to having an older dog kind of tell off a puppy to a degree when they're that young. They learn social skills. But you feel like it might be more than that. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Out right now, but no, I see way too much extreme serious growl. Okay. And there's a lot of say Dracula fangs coming out, especially on the older dogs, which now almost smaller in size. And at first it did look like she was trying to to tell him who's boss. That's what it seemed like at first, but now
it's accelerated.
It's gone concerning.
Yeah, okay, there is room to be concerned there. And this might be one of those situations where you do want to get someone in who's a positive trainer, who's got experience with this, just to kind of keep things, to get a better look and see what's going on there.
That's great. It's get the boots on the ground and getting eyes in the situation is a great thing. And one of the things to be careful of, especially as a trainer, there's different methodologies for everything, right? But a lot of these fear or reactive behaviors, we shouldn't be trying to gull the dog into these behaviors just to see what the behavior looks like. So when you start doing this stuff, one of the big things I get a lot of times when I go into these situations is the owner wants to show me what they're doing. Right. And so they'll set the dogs up to basically get into a fight. And you never want to do that. If your dogs never ever do that behavior again, that's the ultimate goal, right? If they're the best friends in the world for their life, that's the goal, right? So we shouldn't be trying to set up situations to get to go them, or say, let me just go and test them. So if 2 dogs are having problems with resource guarding, you're not going to go ahead and then put a bowl of food in the middle of them just to see what happens and see if you can train them.
But really 2 major components. There's management. The management is going to be a huge part of the equation right now, really keeping them separate
and that's what we're doing. They've got 2 completely separate areas. Sure. How do I split this around? They're sleeping right now.
We love to see it.
I think you double tap it. Double tap the screen.
Does that work?
Okay. Double tap.
There you go.
I didn't know that. Okay. Good to know. Oh, wow. That's the Husky.
Right, that's the Husky. And then the Shiba's outside right now.
Okay. That's very good. And look,
great.
also, when it comes to issues, I have to mention exercise as well.
Oh, absolutely. That we are doing.
Good. I mean, that helps a lot. It's not always a magic answer, but man, you get dogs' energy out. If you get a dog's energy out, they're just like far more easy to get along with, broadly speaking. But it can be more deep rooted than that as well.
Right. I want to say it is deeper than that.
Yeah, you know best.
It just seems like literally more of a fight every time they interact.
Okay.
And it's
that does sound like professionals can get in there.
Yeah, it's just so I just don't know what to do at this point.
Well, do a good job of managing, and yeah, you're doing the right thing by doing that. And just understand these things are not quickly resolved. Usually, oftentimes it's months, years, or a lifetime of management when you have something like this. It doesn't mean Okay. I mean, I've dealt with this with my own dogs before. I've had dogs that didn't get along all the time. They've gotten into scuffles and fights over the years. And, probably the last 6 or 7 years of their life, they didn't really get into a fight, but it was still management and they got better and better slowly. So it's one of those things you look for steady improvement on usually.
And let me go and pause real quick before you say anything else. One of the things I would say too, once again, you're doing a great job right now because being that your puppy's 13 weeks, right? Okay, working on as is and taking serious effort getting it professionally is essential because you may have prevented irreversible damage at this point. Because one of the things that can happen is say you let this behavior keep going and going and going and going, then you're increasing the chances of that you'll never be able to leave them alone by themselves ever again. Right now, being 13 weeks old, things like that, there's a good chance I would say that your dogs can totally come out of this and never have any other problems. But I've seen this time and time again where people let this road go down too far for too long, and it's just irreversible at that point. Yeah,
but good. I wish we could be more helpful, but I hope this helped a little bit.
Thank you. I do appreciate the feedback.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, well, keep us posted.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
That's awesome. I'm going to check in over here real quickly.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
Great questions.
I have a question for
you. You do? Okay, lovely wife free.
Hi. It's not from me. It's from Siobhan.
Okay.
She says that she just started bell training with her dog, and her dog is not as fast as Sky Blue. And so she's like, what's going on? My dog's not as fast as Sky Blue. Do you have any tips to help her?
You're referring to the video where I taught a yellow lab how to ring a bell. Some of you, I'm sure, have seen that, to be let out. And Sky Blue is the name of the dog. And she really picked it up very quickly. I'm not as fast as Sky Blue. That dog is smarter than me. So
she's smarter than.
Kind of was on the cusp of learning, so to make that lesson a little bit easier to teach. So really focus on prioritizing teaching shade and teaching them how to touch an object. Maybe it's a business card in your hand or something like that, or on the floor. Just getting them to start pawing at things, and then as you get better at that, they can generalize touching things like the bells.
Mm-hmm.
Great question.
Thank you. Yeah, I thought
By the way,
that was so cute because I love Sky Blue.
Sky Blue is on the cover of my new book.
Oh, she is?
Yes.
Oh, snap. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Are you ready to come back in?
Yeah.
My new book, Zak George's Guide to a Well-Behaved Dog. It'll be coming out this summer, but you can pre-order it right now. I haven't released it yet, but I've been talking about it in these live streams here and there. So I think you guys got it up to like number 50 most popular dog training books on the pre-order alone.
That's awesome.
Now, I must brag a little bit. My current book is the number 1 best-selling dog training book on Amazon.
We all know that's a great thing, right? So
yeah, we're real proud of that. And thank you guys for
being
so supportive.
And put in the comment section #1 if you think Zak is the #1 dog trainer.
Oh, yeah, stop it.
But anyway, guys, thank you for joining us today. And those that maybe are over here at Modern Dog Training, kind of wondering what we're doing too, and talking here for a good bit, is we're actually doing a live stream, and we're letting you guys kind of have a little behind-the-scenes version over here on Modern Dog Training. If you guys want to add a comment or a question, it looks like you guys are doing a good job about doing that. Hit the link in the description, and you'll pop over to Zak George's Instagram, where there's lots of great content on there, like virtually every day, basically. And we're doing a live stream right now that you guys can ask questions and actually join us live here. So those that are here on Instagram, congratulations, you've made it here. So
yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, we have a nice crowd. Welcome.
Look at all those #1s. Everyone loves you. Awesome. So
I do not deserve it.
Oh, well, differ.
I mean, you can, you can keep telling me I deserve it.
Yeah. So I like these. Like, should we bring somebody else in real quick?
Yeah, let's see. All right, we're gonna try and take in a random viewer here who's requested live. Let's go with Megan right here. How about that?
Perfect.
And we'll see how the connection goes. Sometimes it can be a little glitchy, so bear with us if that happens.
Yeah.
Because it's live and it's new technology. Hi, Megan. How are you?
Hi.
Oh.
So my dog Bernard, he's in his cage right now. So he's like right there.
Cute.
And like the biggest problem I have with him is that he has submissive peeing. Like he's potty trained and all, but when he plays, I guess he just doesn't have control of it. And yesterday he turned 11 months, so I don't know if is that still too young? Like, does it take a long time?
Yeah, typically submissive and excitement urination is when a dog pees when they get really excited or really nervous, or even a little bit excited or a little bit nervous. Most dogs outgrow this by the time they're about 18 months old. The tough thing about this from a training perspective, though there are things you can do, is that it's involuntary. It's not like traditional body training where they go and deliberately seek out a spot and do their business. Well, they can't help it if they're excited or nervous. They can't stop it. So really addressing the cause. In this case, you called it submissive urination, but then you said when he plays with other dogs is when he starts to pee. Is that right?
Yeah, or so
he gets nervous or excited?
I think he's excited, but the vet told me it was submissive urination.
Yeah, well, that's. No, I'm joking. Though I guess what I mean. Hey, I know his wife is a vet.
Right now.
What I mean about that, and let me give you context because I love vets actually. But one of my biggest pet peeves is when vets give training advice and when trainers give medical advice. I don't give medical advice because, well, for obvious reasons. But so. If he tends to get excited with other dogs, you should see the more he gets to play around with other dogs and get used to them and all of that, that it becomes more normal. But really, honestly, most dogs really do outgrow this. Has it gotten better over the last few months, or is it equally as bad?
The last time he had an accident was when I dog sat a poodle and they were playing and he peed just while playing with her. And then it happened yesterday with the dog that's sleeping right here.
Oh.
Doesn't know when a dog does try to nip at them or try to paw at them to play with them, and then some other dogs growl because they're just not in the mood to play, and he's still very immature in this state.
And that's up to you also to do a better job of screening other dogs. So, you want to ask people before you let your dog just go play with them. Does your dog like to play with other dogs? Right. You want to set them up for good situations, especially at 11 months, still pretty young. So, but that's a great question. Does that help you?
Yeah, it helps. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Awesome.
Thanks, Megan.
You're welcome.
All right, fun.
That's awesome. So do you have any other questions that we're going to answer from Instagram over here?
Yeah,
comments?
sure. I have some that I've saved for you.
Bree is over here off camera because, Instagram only lets you have so many people.
Well, only so many people and so much space. I know that you guys are doing a great job at putting out your questions, so we'll try to get to.
Yeah, there's also a puppy over there that I can play with, so I've been over there.
Jane's been having some fun. Here, while you're looking up that question here, I'm not sure if you will see this, but Bree was having some good old times with Jade over there. That's what was happening just a moment ago. Jade loves her Bree and her Zach.
Yeah.
Oh, she's great. You've done a good job with Jade.
Thank you so much.
And Daisy as well. I haven't been able to get enough of these two dogs.
There's keep an eye out on YouTube. If you guys aren't following Zach's YouTube channel yet, I would definitely check that out because we just filmed 3 amazing videos. I think they're amazing, but I'm probably a little biased. But we have some fun stuff. As you guys have seen, some of you guys that are following Zach, you guys may be getting some hints of what's to come with some of the posts. So check out the feed right now and look at what's coming up by the way, I'm Trevor Smith with Doggie Dojo.
That's right.
We've talked about that before. So I've been kind of putting some behind the scenes stuff for you guys as well. And I've been vlogging a little bit too.
Yeah.
So you guys can check that out too as well.
Yep. The Doggie Dojo. It says, what is your opinion on using a gentle leader head collar to stop pulling?
Oh, I wonder. Okay. Well, I have an answer on that. Well, because they're controversial even amongst us gentle leaders is they're not cruel. They're
Yes.
there to prevent. Gentle leader is a head collar. It goes around your dog's snout. So when they pull, they go into one direction or the other. They can't really pull
And it's
effectively.
mistaken a lot of time for a muzzle.
Yeah.
It's not a muzzle.
Right. It looks a bit like a muzzle.
Yes.
So they're not going to train your dog. The only time I do recommend them on specific occasions, and that's when someone has a dog who's cannot physically control a dog. In other words, for whatever reason, they find themselves with a 90-pound Rhodesian Ridgeback, and they happen to be, not able to physically control the dog. I think they're more humane than prong and electric collars and things like that. But they still are a patch,
Correct. And I think that there's always this interesting, I think you mentioned this before in a previous video we've done together. Sometimes even just with a change of a collar, you're going to see a change of behavior. Your dog a lot of times when you switch them to a collar or harness or front clip harness or gentle leader, where they're going to stop wanting to pull because you know why? They don't know how to pull on a gentle leader. You don't know how to pull on an easy walker or front clip harness yet. Because the thing is that I've seen a lot of dogs figure it out after a time. So when you have that change in equipment, optimize on that situation and reward your dog for the behavior that you want. And if you think about it, we have this notion, I hear this all the time. One of the biggest comments I get when I tell people to bring treats on the walk, they're like, oh, I've never brought treats on the walk. But there's something very important about that. And if you have something that's better than a treat or more reinforcing than a treat, like a toy or anything like that, fine, use that. But think about all the things in your dog's environment that are rewarding. Sights, smells, sounds, other dogs, other people. And when they get to those sights, smells, sounds, other people, by pulling on the end of the leash, they're getting rewarded for that behavior. So all that external rewards are everything. The point of reinforcement, we use the point of reinforcement or where you reinforce a dog a lot to optimize their training. So if their rewards are away from you, there's no doubt in my mind why a dog wants to pull. Like dogs want to pull. Is only going to help your dog. The accessible reward is going to be with you instead of the people or the sights or the smells or the sounds.
Yeah, that's true. Leash walking, man, it can be a tough thing.
It is.
Dogs walk faster than we do in general. They can get excited. They're strong. So we get a lot of leash walking questions. I have a lot of videos on YouTube. I'm sure you have leash walking videos.
Yep, I do.
So, I consider a variety of different trainers out there when you're looking and see what works for you. But yeah, I understand. Yeah,
I totally agree. I think you hit it right at the top there. Don't use tools to fix the behavior. You want to make sure to understand what you want first out of the behavior. Do you want your dog to pull towards a person when greeting? Well, if you don't, then don't let them do that. I think one of the things to do is that if you are frustrated with them pulling towards people, but a lot of times I see this thing happen too with a leash walking is your dog sees another dog, and your dog's like a super friendly dog. We were talking to somebody about that, and the notion a lot of times I see is people will say, well, if I can get my dog to say hi to the other dog, so let the dog pull all the way to the other dog, then they'll be calmer or they won't say hi anymore, and we can move on. I see that as a trap, a big trap for a lot of people, because the dogs start to learn like, hey, if I see another dog, guess what I do? To get to it, I pull, and I get to the other dog. So what you need to do is if you do want your dog to say hi, first, what would you say to the other person?
Oh yeah, you ask them. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, just making sure.
Yeah.
How is your dog likely to react to my dog? Number one. Don't always scream. Don't people feel like they're being rude by being like, is your dog good with other dogs? Right. And it's good data.
Yeah. So make sure that's happening first, and then that's the reason I say make that the first question is because if that dog is okay to play with, then you can use that as a reinforcer for them not pulling towards the other dog. But if the other dog isn't wanting to say hi, the reinforcer will be a treat or toy to reward the dog for not pulling. Because if the dog's thinking they're head dog and then they don't get to the other dog and they don't have any other types of reinforcement, then they're like thinking to themselves, well, that sucked. Like, I'm not going to listen to you anymore. I'm going to keep pulling because most of the time when I pull, I get what I want more than when I don't pull.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, good questions, you guys. If you're new to my Instagram, follow me at Zak George. By the way, I know we have a lot of new people in here. Look, we've been solid in here. A good crowd, over 100 people so far.
You guys are
doing awesome. You want me to read you a couple more questions?
Oh, questions, comments? Yeah, whatever you want.
Let's see. Would you guys each like to talk about a more difficult case that you had, a more difficult dog to train?
That's a really
hard
good
question.
It's a real hard question, but you've
I'm trying to
already
find, like,
put it out in the air. So
Yeah, difficult. The problem with that question for me is what difficult. I don't know. I don't really classify.
Okay, let's twist it and say, what do you find to be a more challenging thing to teach, maybe?
That's pretty broad as well.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there are tricks that are hard to teach. Teaching a dog to ride a bicycle, for example, very tough. Or skateboard, not the easiest thing to teach.
right.
Resolving issues of aggression can be quite challenging.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah. Well, we do. Yeah, I do have a video. You've actually seen the video. I actually ran it by Trevor because I have. There's an upcoming video where we have a German Shepherd. And we broke it down. We happened to catch it on film, so we wanted to, you saw the video.
Yeah, it's really great. I can't wait for you guys to see it because one, you guys as much as possible, because I mean it was a really interesting case because the fact the dog, was really quick to react, and to a certain sense, you set yourself up for success. We're not, not to make any spoilers here, but.
I'm a lot.
But I would say, be more inclined with is it's kind of hard to train a dog when you don't know what reinforcers they want to use. I mean, if you don't know what your dog likes or loves in this world, it makes it a lot more difficult to get to motivate them to do the behavior you want them to do. So that's like one of the first things you got to do. What does your dog like? Do they like food more than toys? Well, if they like food more than toys, do they like chicken or do they like hot dog? All these little kind of nuancy things to know about your dog is extremely important to motivate them.
Yeah.
I think that's where my more difficult cases come from is when
Having a hard time finding the currency.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
When the owners just don't know what motivates their dog. And so if you want to get any change your dog, think about motivate. And one of the things that we talk about too is using their meals and using training to use our meals during training and make sure that you're constantly, training your dog is all those little currencies, all those little transactions of training and playing with you is just going to increase your bond with your dog more and more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well said. I agree. But yeah, I guess so some of the more difficult things, for me are going to be dealing with dogs that are more aggressive towards people or other dogs, or trying to resolve those complex situations. Because dogs are complex animals. They're not all the same. So every dog is different. But for the most part, though, dogs are pretty easy to work with. And one of the reasons why, if you think about it, all dogs are domesticated. All dogs were specifically bred at some level in their DNA to interact with and coexist with human beings. So they're predisposed to take direction from us. So by and large, when you really get to know dogs and the nature of dogs, most of them, just about all of them, in fact, are pretty easy to connect with.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was good. That was a good question.
Oh, good. Phew. Trying.
It's a hard one. That's good.
So Brandy would like a little clarification on some science that she's about dominance training.
Yeah.
Science doesn't act that your dog thinks he's the pack leader. Can you talk about that study?
That's so cool. Yeah.
Well, so she's asking specifically which study is that also?
Well, you don't need a study to prove a negative. There's no evidence for it in the first place. So that.
Well, the interesting thing is, I think this too. Maybe that's where you're going with this. Is the guy who actually first coined the term being a pack leader?
Yeah.
He actually went against it. Like the guy who actually said that the pack system that's related to dogs was or to wolves even, is that they really don't have the pack leader mentality.
Yeah, that's right. It's a flawed hypothesis that goes back to the 1960s and 70s with studies on captive wolves. David Misch is the commonly mispronounced Mech.
Yeah.
Because I did that on my audiobook. I mispronounced his name. Fortunately, we caught it and corrected it in time. But
I couldn't say it right now. It's hard.
Yeah, but so there isn't any evidence in the first place to support dominance towards people from dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, furthermore, the word dominance has no agreed upon ethological definition. There is no agreed upon definition to dominance in all of animal behavior. In fact, there was a study I did find in my research on this, I think from the early 90s. The study was can we define dominance? And they came up with like 13 different definitions. So, I mean, that's the problem when you try to, it's such a broad encompassing term. So yeah, I guess that would be my answer.
Right.
There's no science to support it, and there's no real reason to suspect that the hypothesis has any validity to it in the first place, because we don't really see, I don't see, when I work with dogs, I truly don't see them trying to be dominant towards people. Right. You know,
I mean, maybe I'm going to get a little bit more like, you guys that are this question. It's a common industry between choosing the path of dominance or the path of coercion to train your dog and choosing positive reinforcements or sign-based methods. Like, there is a question that, like, I would 100%. It's gonna, sometimes I think people struggle because they want quick, immediate results, and the notion that you can't get quick, immediate results without using coercive methods is a farce. I've seen dogs get, like, Jade is probably a great example of that. Like, she has over 40 tricks on her tool belt, and she's only a 7.5 months old, and I haven't used any of those methods on her. Right. So that is as a testament itself that she's getting some quick and amazing results. You know, we actually were at the levee here, and she did like I would have to say at least an 80-foot recall on the levee. So like, there's like amazing things that Jade is doing at such a young age. So there she is, a testament to how this stuff really does work. But the biggest part, put all the behaviors aside, just throw them to the side. My relationship with Jade, I can't tell you how emotional, how great it feels to love and play with this dog every single day. That's where the emotional side is going to come into me, because when she looks at me, there's just nothing else like it.
Yeah, well said. And, you know, I mean, if anyone is concerned with dominance, it's people towards animals. I mean, there's all kinds of evidence to show that we as humans are very concerned with dominating other animals.
True.
But when it's the other way around, I don't see the evidence there. And I think modern science and some of the leading universities in animal behavior don't see it either. So to continue to support the pack leader or the dominance hypothesis is to ignore the latest in animal behavior by some of the brightest minds in the world. So
the other side of that too, well, that's really cool studies. There's actually been studies on this too, and I would have to reference it to you. I'm sorry I'm not referencing it to you, but scientifically speaking, when you're that your brain shuts down, and when you're faced with up. And so, like, if you were to walk in the room being afraid that something bad's going to happen to you, you're going to be a lot more cautious and not move throughout that room than when you go in that room and there's an opportunity for reinforcement. That's just putting it very, very simple. But there's studies that have been shown that if you want your dog's mind to open up and to really want to learn and grow, like Jade right now, she's under here making her own game. She's taking the ball and putting it underneath the table and making like a little puzzle for herself. Like, her brain is just on fire. And that's just a great thing to see. Instead of them being afraid of what's going to happen around next, they're ready and they're excited to play more.
Yeah, well done.
So good questions, you guys. And your group is just a very smart, intelligent, inquisitive Instagram group. Yeah,
I appreciate it. I agree.
And those that, this has been a great thing to be here. I'm so thankful for anybody that has come over to the Doggie Dojo.
Yeah.
Like, we have grown up to 100 followers over the last couple of days. I am so stoked if any one of you guys are all coming over to Doggie Dojo, because I have some fun challenges coming up and some fun games and training for you guys that I'm stoked about doing with y'all. And if I get half this like amazingness that we're seeing here today, I'm gonna be so stoked.
Yeah, I know what you mean. They're
right.
I'm very grateful for my Instagram followers. They're great.
They're great.
Go ahead, Bree. What else you got for us?
All right. Ori Boy the Toller says, I'm all about positive reinforcement and redirection. I do still find utility with the occasional straight up no, never dominating or intimidating, but just straight toned with positive reinforcement after. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, so Trevor, are you of the mindset that you like to avoid the word no at all costs, or what?
Well, here's a great quote. Say, positive does not mean permissive. Okay, so that's kind of sums it up right there.
Yeah.
You know, if it just going back to, like, you know, if your child is about to put their hand on a hot stove, you know, to tell them, say, hey, honey, please don't do that, you know, kind of like that. what it comes down to, I think, that are you in the constant firefighter mode, or are you in a prevention mode? Are you structuring your training to help your dog make less and less mistakes, or are you structuring your training for setting them up for failure?
Yeah, really, really well put. Yeah, so I mean, I think because a lot of trainers are really opposed to the word no, and there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. If you, I mean, I'm really big on communicating as vividly as I can with the dog. So the word no is in my vocabulary when I work with dogs. But I don't, when I find myself saying no more than I'm saying yes, I realize that I need to take a look in the mirror and realize, okay, I need to design my training in order to find more yeses in my training and work my dog up to that level to where they're now ready to do what I'm trying to get them to do. So that's where I am with no.
And there has gone, since this group's a very scientifically inclined mind group, since this group is thinking about science, there has been a scientific study recently that does go and takes two groups of dogs, and one group of dog, they went through all the behaviors. And if the dog got, one group was, the dog made the wrong answer, did the wrong behavior, they would correct it by saying the word no or stop or quit or something like that. And then the other group of dogs, what they would do is they give them a second opportunity to do it again. And the dogs that actually were not told no all the time were actually learning faster than the dogs that were given another opportunity to work. So when you're working with your dog and your dog says, you tell your dog to down and they don't down, to tell them no is usually, once again, going to shut their brain down versus with just giving them another chance to get the right behavior again.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that was a good question as well.
I think just on the note of science, one other cool study I loved seeing recently, I mean, this is probably the last few years though, is the one about playing with your dog after you train.
Okay.
Have you seen that one? Like about like
perhaps.
What it is basically if you play with your dog after you train, you actually engage them in play, their retention rate increases dramatically.
Well, I believe that.
So.
Well, because play has always been a huge part of the way that I take train dogs, and as well as other. But yeah, I totally believe.
Honestly, I mean, this is probably me nerding out a little bit, and you probably get this way too sometimes.
Okay.
Isn't it fun to like just like to study the science and to understand it and to know that with science and with great research that we can understand our dogs even more. And it's so crazy like to see the things that are coming out from now. It's the dog world is just growing bigger and bigger every single day, and showing us how much our dogs know. Like the dognition studies by Dr. Brian Hare and stuff like that. Like understand the dog's cognition, their brain, how it works is just an incredible thing.
Yes. Yeah. Your dog over here. We got so cute. So I double tap. That's all I have to do. Yeah. That's good to know. All right.
So what she's doing.
This is what we've been looking at. This is Jade. Jade is a 7-month-old border collie, and she's looking for her ball, which she has gotten stuck under our table that we have.
But she's gotten it out. See, so she gets it out. But but she's not going to do it again right now. But what she's been doing, she's been coming back over here. Maybe she is. She's almost like making it a game.
Yeah,
she is.
Funny.
She keeps putting it back
puts it back
the
under
table.
there so that she can get it. See right there. See
that? So it's under there.
So she can pop it out. Isn't that the coolest thing? Like how she's just being inquisitive and just learning. And this is actually a cool thing to show.
Yeah.
Because it's actually a really good thing. And I've actually once in a while been petting her while she's been doing this for dogs to learn how to self-entertain. I mean, it's great for them to learn how to train and behave with you, but it's also nice for a puppy at this age to know that, hey, when my dad's talking and doing a live stream, it's okay to play by myself and to play at this ball underneath this table.
Yeah, that's true. She's making up her own game. Anyway, I've fallen in love with Jade. She really is a great dog. And Daisy, his 10-year-old dog. He's 2019 agility finalist, national finalist.
She's handing it up over here to Instagram.
I know, that's true. Anyway,
that's great to show that.
Let's see. So we'll bring you back here. There
Boom,
we go.
Done. You know, the reason I figured that out is that was live we were doing. Like I accidentally double tapped the screen. I was like, oh, how did I do that? I was like, oh, that's what works.
Yeah, no, that's a good tip. I like it.
Can we have it? Right, here we go. I can't get enough of that.
See, this happens. This is one of the glitches. It'll just stop responding.
So now we're really trying right now. Zach has been really pressing. We pressed the button. Oh, now we're double tapping. I wonder if it was because of the double tap, right? So actually, guys, what you can do for us, if you guys go ahead and resend your invite, because we'll see that little bar come up.
Okay.
We might be able to click. If you guys, if you are asking to go live with us right now, go ahead and stop that request and try again, because right now that's going to reset everything, I think.
Maybe. I feel like we've done that before, but I'm not sure.
We'll see what happens, because you know how the gray box comes up?
Yeah.
You can probably see if it allows. Like, click that view.
All right, so we're gonna hit view here.
Perfect. There you go.
And
that other button's not working.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Wait, who was that though? I think I lost. Was it this?
We're
I may not have gotten you. I'm sorry, but I got somebody.
Yes, we got a lot of people. It was actually a group of people that it pops up with.
Oh, okay.
So it resets it every time.
Hey, Zach.
Yes.
You got an OG friend from Conyers in here.
Oh, right on.
It's amazing to see your transformation.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hello. How's it going? What can I help you out with today?
It's good. My dog wants to say hi.
Oh, hey.
Hi, dog. Who is this?
This is Bridget,
Here,
almost 11-week-old
you don't have to.
rough collie.
Okay.
And I was wondering if you had any advice on getting her used to the car, because I would love to have a good riding buddy.
Oh, sure. 11 weeks old, you said? Oops. Okay, I'm sorry. You cut out there. 11 weeks old?
She's 11 weeks old, and I was wondering if you had any advice, and she's probably cut here,
Yeah.
on getting her to be a good riding buddy.
Yeah, I do. I mean, 11 weeks, it's really normal for a lot of dogs, especially young dogs, to be nervous in a car, to get car sick, or even to be too excited. I mean, the number one thing you want to do is make sure they're safe, obviously, in the car, but not wait popping in and out of the car in your driveway before it's time to go. So getting in the car and getting into their crates, I know, super cute. When you pull out of the driveway and just drive down the street for 30 seconds. So a lot of it's really desensitizing them to the car. Because does your dog get sick in the car or anything like that?
Not so much.
Okay.
It's just kind of we've been doing 15-minute rides, but I was just wondering if there's any help with the motion sickness, because I think it does happen to her after a little bit.
Right.
So it's just practice, basically?
Yeah, I mean, it's desensitizing them. If you've ever gotten seasick before or been dizzy on a boat, if the more you do it, the less likely you are to get seasick. I mean, that's really what it is. It's the more you do it, the better it gets. Short rides to happy places is the bottom line, I think.
Okay.
Because that way, short rides to the park where they have something fun to do kind of gets them optimistic. And
yeah, I know.
What else you got?
Yeah, I think I've seen it in all different ways. I think that what you're saying is the most common and I see most successful. You may even have to take it one step back and say, I'm just going to let my dog, we're going to go make sure that we're not actually going to, keeping the windows up and everything like that with the car on. Let's be careful here.
Yes.
But make sure you get in your car and you sit with your dog and give him some treats or calm without it moving. Sometimes that stress of being in the car and it starts to move, it works them up to the top of their point. But if they start to learn that the car doesn't always have to move when I'm inside here, it can sometimes help with the initial. So they're not stressing out before they even get into the car, that they're actually excited to be in the car because it gives them lots of reinforcement. And the other thing to do is I've also seen it the other way, where sometimes a long trip with the dog can sometimes eventually just get acclimated enough and habituated enough that they go like, you know what, this is fine, this is normal.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be thankful enough for Jade. She's been quite a great car rider. Half the time she's belly up, upside down, just sleeping upside down. Like,
that's awesome.
You can see that.
Yeah,
awesome.
but I'm sure you'll be fine. Yeah, just take your dog everywhere you possibly can.
Right. Yeah. Even just like,
And then one other question: she hates her collar and her leash when I put it on her.
Yeah.
Any advice on that?
Take a step back. And rather than just treats, so now she's just like making treats somehow come,
And then what's that with BB-8? You did that now? Yeah, on YouTube.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got a young puppies. Yeah, I mean, you have to kind of pick your battles, tolerate that to a degree. And then you'll touch the collar just to their neck a little bit. Reward, do this over a period of 20, 30 minutes, the first time or two. And it may take you a little longer since your dog already has a negative association with the collar. I do have a video on this. I think it's on leash training your puppy with BB-8, the Alaskan Klee Kai.
That's what I remember seeing that before. You went through a bunch of different things with BB-8.
Yeah.
This strikes my head where you actually were working with a harness, I believe.
Yeah, it was a harness.
You're putting it on there and off, but it's the same concept with the harness or with the collar. I mean, it's really not. I've seen that with dogs. I mean, especially the leash. I've seen dogs freak out about the leash. Like, what's this thing dragging on my neck? Like, so
especially puppies.
Puppies, but they get used to it, and it's one of those things. And you know, kind of play around with it. You know, play with different types of equipment. You know, maybe your dog does like a harness better than a collar or something like that. And for some small dogs, that's really probably a better choice is a harness rather than a collar. Yeah. So because of the neck pressure. So
yeah, it's true. Puppies generally you want to use a harness, but you know they still need the collar for their tags and all that stuff. So yeah, that's still important.
Right.
But yeah, good questions. Anything else?
Thank you. No, that's
it. Thank you. You're awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Good talking to you. Bye.
Oh, that's been great.
You too. Bye.
I know. Awesome.
All right. Well, what are we up to? Do you want to add one more question or how?
Oh, we'll take one more question. Bree, what you got?
One more. Oh, that's a lot of pressure.
One more. And I know you guys have been awesome putting all those questions in the comment section below. We'll you know, of course, I'm kind of like getting sad here a little bit because this is our last day. You know, for today. For now.
Okay.
You
You're
know?
right down the street, man.
I know, right? Really am. So we'll see each other again soon. But I mean, this has been fantastic, and you guys have been awesome.
Aw, thank you. Okay, well, Sweet Mighty Zeus says, why does my dog listen more to my husband's commands than mine, even though I'm with him most of the day?
Oh, I see. This is a fun one, yeah.
Well, dogs learn whether or not they're going to listen as a result of the consequence of the request.
Right.
So, you know, I mean, it could be for a variety of reasons. Mm-hmm. Stereotypically, they're a bit more intimidating, which, hey, you know, listen to you. It's not my preferred style of communication, but, you know, it sometimes does get a dog more compliant in the short term, listening to you. Now, this is where I think women especially have an advantage, if I'm stereotyping, with positive reinforcement training. They have higher pitched voices, they can be more approachable, come off more friendly. I'm doing a lot of stereotyping here. So, but really, you just need to get in the habit of enforcing the rules and providing positive outcomes when your dog does listen to you so that they know, okay, listening to you actually yields a result, rather than just expecting a dog to listen with no incentive in the early stages of training. So, yeah, I mean, that's my short answer to it.
Right, and I think you put it right there with consequences. So we think the word consequences at the end is a bad thing. It's not.
There could be good consequences.
It could be good consequences, yeah. So I hate this word consistency too.
Do you hate it?
I hate it and I love it. You know, it's one of those love-hate relationships where it's impossible really to be consistent, you know, in a very technical term. But, you know, the more consistent you are, the better it's going to be. And with the consistency factor is that if you ask your dog to do something and you do not reinforce that behavior, science tells us the rule of learning is if a behavior that's rewarded, is likely to increase, a behavior that's not rewarded is likely to decrease. I tell that's like the #1 golden rule you need to put in your mind. If you remember anything about dog training, classes, and anything, this will help with all behaviors. Not just bad behaviors or good behaviors, but all behaviors. But a behavior that's rewarded is likely to increase. A behavior that's not rewarded is likely to decrease. Yeah. So if you want your dog to increase their behaviors for you that you want them to keep doing, you must reinforce that behavior. And for most dogs, that's food. And I don't want to sound like some of it. I probably think a lot of you guys are getting turned off by me saying the F word just then. But it's true. Like people get so upset that you have to use food with your dog. But when it comes to dog, they need food to survive. They don't need this notion that a lot of times that we try to train our dog without food because they love us, and we try to Disneyfy the relationship really here, that the dogs will do it because they love me. Well, there's truth could be said about your own relationships, that there's a lot of situations that, you know, people, if they expected the same thing from you, it's like, just do this because you love me. You're like, what? Why don't you pay me? Like if your boss came to you tomorrow and said like, hey, I want you to work with the whole month for free because you love me. You'd be like, even though if you do really value boss and respect them, you do want to get paid. So food for dogs is a major currency because they need to survive. Like food, water, they need that to survive. So the trick now is if you do want your dog to value other types of reinforcers, you need to start using those reinforcers as well for reinforcement. So when you ask your dog to sit, you may give them a piece of food, but you also may play with them. And what the best way to do it, this is from Ken Ramirez, he's a great guy, he has a course called Smart Reinforcement Course, is to actually pair the least valuable reward with then the higher value reward. So you want to make sure that if your dog, say, maybe doesn't have a good touch reinforcement scale, what you could do is ask your dog for a behavior like sit, and when they do a sit, you're going to mark the behavior with yes or click. And it's going to really work out. And if you have to take one step further, if maybe your dog is not a big fan of being pet or touched, that may be all you do is what's called the pet then treat game. Is you pet your dog, then treat them, pet them, then treat them. And over time, your dog's going to figure out real quickly that if I get pet right here on top of my head, a treat's coming. So pets are very valuable to me. That's a huge chain I just went through.
Yes. Yes, it was.
I hope you guys kind of caught up with it. I mean, I mentioned this stuff a lot in my doggy dojo and things
absolutely.
like that. It's going to the science behind that. But the biggest thing, if you're going to take any takeaway from that, is that when your dog does something right, you must reinforce that behavior.
Yeah, well said. Very good. It's true. Well, yeah, I think that was a good live session. What do you think?
That was awesome.
It was,
Yeah.
but okay, wait, I do have one more question for you.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Snap.
It's from 52 Soto. What is the YouTube and Instagram name of the gentleman?
Oh, you're so
next
sweet.
to Zach?
There you go.
Thank you. So my Instagram is Doggie Dojo, DOGGIE. It's the Doggie Dojo. That's true.
Yeah.
And then same thing with YouTube, the Doggie Dojo. So GGIEDOJO. And you guys can check all my stuff out. I have lots of content both on Instagram. You actually should check out, if our Instagram is, you're like, oh no, I don't do Facebook or YouTube, which there's so many great YouTube videos over here. You should check them out. Is that you guys actually, I have a lot of IGTV videos and episodes too of some great tutorials for you guys as well. So if you're into IGTV, you can come check me out. I have some great things for you guys. Oh no, give me Tricia. So if you guys enjoyed this and you want some more of this, one thing we could do from afar is we'll maybe sometimes do some co-live streams together and things like that.
Certainly open to that.
So cool.
All right, see you guys.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thank Modern Dog Training for joining us as well.
Yes, thank you, Modern Dog Training. You guys are great.
Awesome.
You guys, it's
Don't
okay,
go.
love.
Don't go. I'm so sorry. We'll be back
Say hi.
soon. Bye.
Have to give it a second for the lag to catch up.
That's true. Very true.
There we go. That should do it. Okay, so now it's not giving me
Okay,
the option
testing
to
her
save.
live stream now.
It's not doing the option to save right now. That's
No,
crazy. Well,
because sometimes
the
doesn't.
great thing is that this is saved over here.
Okay.
So, all right. Bye.